Good morning, traders. Welcome to this Monday morning. And you may notice this face ain't Carlos and that face ain't Carlos. We
Good
have a
morning,
special guest this
BBT.
morning. Good morning, Megan. How are you?
I'm good, Peter. I mean, as good as you can be for getting up at 3:45 in the morning to cover for Carlos. And but I'm good. I'm ready. I'm ready to party. Let's do this thing. How are you this morning?
What a trooper. Yeah, I'm doing good. I was worried this weekend I was going to get rained out. We had rain forecasted here, but fortunately it sort of just rained a little bit and then moved on, and that was perfect. So I had a
Awesome.
great weekend doing all the stuff I had planned. This has been a crazy summer. It feels like every weekend I've had things planned. It's been busy, busy, busy. So, but not complaining. Not complaining.
It's great. It's
Oh,
great. At least it didn't rain and you didn't lose your ceiling like Carlos. That's the good thing right now.
very true. I hope it stays up where it is. I want it to stay right there. So,
Good.
all right, let's get started, everybody. Good morning. If for those of you that were members in the room or listening to Engineering the Markets, you heard Jared give us a rundown of the markets and the fact that we're seeing some muted volatility this week. It's been actually some good trading the last couple of weeks. I have had, actually, I've seen some good trades, even on the days where we didn't have a lot moving pre-market. We've seen the markets actually give us some trading opportunities if you were cautious. Hopefully that will continue this week. But with that lowered demand, lowered volatility, it may be a little bit of a quieter week. We do have to keep in mind it is Monday. It is the summer. Well, and also it's Monday. It's Monday in the summer. But that means that, over summer, volumes tend to be a little lower, which means you can get one of two things, right? Lower volumes can either mean we get very flat demand and things just sort of move sideways and are a little choppy, or we get these outsized moves if a stock decides to move. You don't have that volume to suppress it. So sometimes in the summer, you can get this really boring period and then suddenly these massive moves that if you're in the right position, you can take advantage of. So just be careful out there, whatever you choose to do. So let's take a look at the economic calendar. Megan, we haven't talked about it. Do you want to run through it? Do you want me to talk about it? There's not much happening to talk about,
Yeah, it
frankly.
doesn't look like there's much happening, so go for it, Peter.
All right. It is a quiet day today. We really only have two things I can identify worth telling you about. One, we do have Waller that's making some sort of initial remarks at a speaking engagement this morning right before the open. And then we have what's called the U.S. leading economic indicators. Basically, it's an aggregate of indicators out of Chicago that's telling you how they feel the economy is doing. It's expected to show a 0.03%. I think it's actually 0.3%. I might have put an extra decimal point in there. Contraction. But bottom line, neither one of those are large market events, and I put an extra decimal point. So 0.3% is the expectation on that forecast. Either way, guys, don't expect these to have a big market impact. So pretty quiet day on the economic calendar. I was looking at earnings. Also pretty quiet there, although we have at least one thing I saw that was on the gappers list, and our gappers has a bunch of junk on it, as it usually does on Mondays. So we'll try and pick out some of the good stuff. Now, when I say junk, keep in mind that's by our perspective. Here at Bearable Traders, we have we have our own way of trading, and every community and every trader has a slightly different approach to the markets. We tend to focus on things that have good volume and order flow, which means we want to see lots of trade volume going through the stock. Generally, we want to have a relatively high float so we don't get the crazy moves that make it difficult to manage your risk. However, if you're a trader that doesn't mind the increased risk and like some of the low float stocks, the ones that tend to move, it's like a $6 stock that moves $5 in the day, then by all means, right? There could be some great stuff out there, but just keep in mind that's the stuff that Megan and I are probably going to filter out. Megan's probably even more cautious than I am about the stuff she looks at. So we'll see what we like. We'll tell you what we like, but don't be afraid to tell us the stuff that you like, and we'll take a quick look at it if we have the time. All right, so let's get to the gappers list. We'll see what we've got moving up there. As you can see, there's a bunch of stuff on there, some of which we can pick out and some of which I will quickly skip over. So let's start at the top of the list with something new that just popped up here because I was not looking at this earlier. because it wasn't on my list. ALZN, or ZN for my American friends. ALZN. I can't even say the name of the company. Never heard of it before.
Yeah, it looks like they announced a partnership with Massachusetts General Hospital for a phase 2 clinical study. So this is a biotech, it looks like, for treatment of patients with PTSD.
Okay, well, it is a Monday, which means we typically see a lot of biotechs jump on the list with new drug treatments and therapies. That's for whatever reason they come out over the weekend all the time. So, so
Hmm.
not surprised on that. I don't. I have to admit, I don't love the look at it. I'm looking at the daily chart. Look how it's been trending downward forever, and now it's tripled in price. Let's look at 5-minute chart. I mean, the price action has been pretty good so far this morning. 8 million shares traded. So it's definitely in play. But this is exactly an example of one of those high risk, low float stocks I was talking about. Is it actually a low float? Yeah. I see 600,000 shares in the float, which means that 8 million shares, it's already flipped over its float like 14 times or something crazy so far this morning. So you got to be crazy. You got to be careful about that. I mean, it's definitely in play, but it's a high risk option. So if you like it, put it on your list. I'm not going to be putting it on mine. All right, the next one we have is another biotech, but I was looking at this because there's some interesting news out of here. GOVX Labs, GOVX is the ticker symbol on this. Let's get this baby up here on the screen. I'm not sure, Megan, if you've had a chance to dig into this yet.
This one is about
Silent.
the COVID-19 vaccine, I believe, right?
Well, they have a yes, and they're part of. They have two studies. One is a COVID-19. The other one is this Mpox. They've got an Mpox vaccine,
Oh,
which
yeah.
people seem to be talking about. It's been dubbed the monkeypox vaccine, and I'm not sure if that's just because of the name or there's actually any relation to monkeys, to be honest. But anyways, it looks gross. They show people
Yeah.
with these monkeypox lesions. Let's see if I can put this on the screen here. There you go.
Oh,
That's what a
man.
monkeypox lesion looks like if you have it on your body. But
That's what my hands
yeah,
used to look
so
like when I worked in the kitchen.
I think this is different.
Just
Hopefully, you weren't getting monkeypox in the kitchen.
lesions and burns and all kinds of stuff all over my
Yeah,
hands.
I guess that yeah, a lot of burns, I would imagine, and stuff. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna start like a new fear. What? I hear you can get it from the kitchen. Oh my god, Megan, fake news. All right. Anyway, so they have a vaccine for that, and they can see their stock going up. They're up like 52%. So closed Friday at $7. They're sitting at almost $11 right now. Again, 8.8 million shares traded. Oddly, the price action doesn't look as good on this as it did on the previous one. On the ALZN. But if I look at the daily chart here, at least it wasn't trending downwards before it made this move up. So, and this is a second day play. So it was moving on Friday, moving up again this morning. Again, this is not quite as low float as the last one, but still only 5 million shares in the pot here to play with. So it's flipped over its float more than once this morning. So again, be very careful with it. I can't manage my risk in this. Megan, I know that this is not you. You don't even look at these, do you?
No, this wouldn't be something that I trade for sure. I trade a lot of the the bigger names, so this is kind of not something that's really on my radar in general. But I mean, out of the two that we've seen right now, the other one I would be more likely to trade if I was to pick between these two. Which they're both trash cans for me right now, so I wouldn't trade either of them.
All right. Well, Megan's said the magic words. There goes the truck. All right. Taking the trash away. Again, not that there's anything wrong with that. If you like these stocks, then by all means go trade them. But for Megan and I, these are no goes. All right, the next one on my list here is ZIVM. I'm confusing everybody with my Canadian Zeds. This we've seen many a time on this. One of the shipping companies, they had earnings this morning. Looks like Megan beat their numbers, if I read it right.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. I was looking to see if they had any raised guidance, because sometimes that's also the best point of
Mhm.
earnings. I see when stocks start moving, it's really a raised guidance is really something that tends to be more important. But I haven't seen the guidance for it. I'm looking here.
No. They don't typically, these shipping companies, for whatever reason, they tend to like do nothing for a while, and then they just make these massive jumps. You can see on the daily here how it's sort of, moves in like these tiny little ranges, and suddenly have these outsized moves, and today's another one of those days. I don't know for a fact if this is traded on multiple markets, but it always feels like it is, because I can never find any pattern to its price action. So despite the fact that it shows up regularly, we're trading 1.3 million shares, which is not bad. I am not going to be paying attention to ZIM either. So
Yeah, it does
it's
look like it was a very big surprise beat, and they raised a full year 2024 guidance. They raised it, so that is going to probably have a big effect on how they're moving, and obviously they are gapping up quite a lot. Um, I've never traded this one, but I do like the chart on it. To be honest, this might be something that
oh
I
yeah.
put on my list. Yeah, I like it, and I do like things that have solid beats and raised guidance. So this could be an interesting earnings play today. I'm going to check it out a little bit more before I decide, but I don't hate it. We'll just say that.
Okay, look at that. Megan's giving it a thumbs up, a tentative thumbs up, but a thumbs up. Speaking of thumbs up, there's my not so subtle segue. If you want to give us a thumbs up in YouTube, we would greatly appreciate that. That helps the show in the morning. And besides, you got to give Megan a thumbs up for being here and sitting in for Carlos. Show her some love.
For
Give
getting
her
up at 3:45. Come on, guys, give us some love.
exactly. That's right. There you go. Deserves it for that alone. All right, let's keep going down our list, because there's a lot of stuff on the list. I'm going to probably start rejecting a whole lot of stuff here, because next I have is PCVX, another one I've never heard of. Looks like another vaccine company, Vaxcyte.
Yeah. You weren't lying when you said a lot of the biotech vaccine things happen on Monday. I've actually never noticed that. So that is fascinating.
There you go. Yep, it's seems like almost every Monday we get a bunch of these things that pop up. This one again, another. This is a bigger float, 100 million shares in the float. I don't even see what the volume is. I'm not even sure why it's on my list here, but I don't love it. So I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
How about Kubi?
Kubi.
CUBI.
Kubi.
Kubi. Customer Bank Corp. Oh, what a bank. Got a bank.
Yeah.
Price action looks terrible.
I'm not actually seeing anything on this. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes we get these weird things that, regional banks that come up. Again, it's a Monday phenomena. And it looks like we're still having some data concerns especially with the NYSE, because I'm not getting. But this is on my trading platform as well. It's not even showing any volume for today, so I don't know what's happening here. It's always concerning when you have market data problems. I'm going to move on to the next one on the list here, which is RKLB, Rocket Labs. We have seen them before. They are back with 1 million shares traded so far this morning, up about 5.8%. Again, this is a sub $10 stock, which makes it a little more volatile. Any news, Megan?
I'm seeing something about Rocket Lab mentioning SpaceX.
Yeah, they're talking trash. It looks like the CEO.
Yeah, they're talking
saying,
trash. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. So there's two quotes apparently that came out of the CEO, Peter Beck. First, he says he's always reminding employees, we have no money, so we have to think. And the second is, but we have all of the right stuff to take down SpaceX's monopoly. So that's, okay, you go for it. But yeah, I'm not sure that that's going to translate into actual opportunity. But Rocket Labs is thinking big, and we'll see if they can put some value behind that, I guess. Again, price action looks a little spotty this morning, despite the 1 million shares. I'm more favorable on this than I have some others, just because it's had trading opportunity in the past few days. You can see Friday we had some good volume and some good price action actually on Friday. If I go back and we take a look, see on Friday, there was some trading opportunity. Not the easiest thing to trade by any stretch, but at least it had some consistent trade volume. So maybe Rocket Labs today, but I'm not loving it. Haven't found anything I love yet.
Yeah, I mean,
So
maybe it's something that would end up being a second day play. I mean, maybe they were trash talking better on Friday. That made it move a little bit better, but yeah, maybe a second day play. It's setting up a really nice range from Friday. So, you know, if you're someone that's interested in playing stocks that are this price, and if it does get the right amount of volume, you know, playing the edges or the range that's being created would be something to keep an eye out for. So yeah, you could keep an eye out for that.
Okay, we'll keep the trash talking Rocket Labs on here. OLO, OLO Inc. It's on my list. I don't see much volume. I don't like it. I am just going to ignore it and move on. I got a lot of stuff on here. How about ASTS?
Yeah.
I got to mention ASTS because if you remember from last week, this is the one that Jared was, well, he frankly tongue lashed me for not keeping it on my list and not trading it, and he was right. It had some good trading days. You can see here, especially on Thursday of last week. Look at this move. Made a great move up on Thursday. I have to say, though, Friday not quite as great. I mean, it was making this big move. It looked like it was going to be a big runner until it just like the bottom fell out. Look at this drop. I didn't catch either one of these moves, which is a shame. But it's definitely been in play, and I think it's probably worth keeping an eye on, if nothing else, so that we don't get in trouble by Jared.
You never want that. Never want to get in trouble by Jared. You know, both of these, this one and, you know, the Rocket Lab one, they're both mid-cap stocks, and I'm looking at them thinking that maybe there's just another type of just flow going into this part of the market right now, especially with the way money's been kind of moving around. But yeah, I mean, to play it after that big of a drop or a retracement of the day that it actually got going might not be, it might get stuck a little bit. Usually when you see something that moves up this high and then retraces fully, you end up starting to get some of that range bound price action. But you never know. Again, you don't want to get in trouble by Jared. So maybe it's something that we all keep on our watch list.
Well, as Brian from our community says, this can often be the hangover day, which sounds like what you were describing, Megan, where it sort of just gets stuck, like you said, right? Had sort of the big move. It needs to rest and recover, take an aspirin, and get back into the game. So we'll see what ASTS does today, if anything. But I'll put it on the secondary list. Why not? And we'll see what it does. Got some other weird thing. AMC. My God, I haven't seen AMC on our list in a while. One of our favorite meme stocks from days gone by here. The price action looks horrible. It does meet the criteria. It has over 300,000 shares because it's such a low price stock here. It's wow, look at this. It's stuck in a penny range. What has it been doing recently?
Looks like they had earnings.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it looks like it maybe an earnings report on Friday.
Look at that daily chart. That is awful. Okay. Well, no wonder we haven't paid attention to AMC. It's fugly, if I can say that.
You can. It's terrible. Right. And if you go to like a 5 or a 1 minute chart, it's total algo trading right now.
Yeah, we need to bin that. Can we give it a dancing Elon garbage? Do we have that one? I haven't seen that in a while. There he is. Oh, are you not entertained? All right, moving on. CWAN, Clearwater Analytics Holdings. Never heard of this. Don't like the volume. Price action is looking pretty weak here, so not liking it either. So I'm going to move on. Next, I have Riot on my list here. Riot now. So Monday is also usually a good day for our Bitcoin stocks. So let me just check the price of Bitcoin this morning. And what are we doing? Well, looks like we're down marginally. Not much. Pretty quiet weekend, actually, for Bitcoin. Normally, it's the weekend when it gets its big moves. This weekend, though, it took a nap. Bitcoin didn't do anything. Huh.
Yeah.
All right, but
I'm not seeing anything specific for Riot in particular. So it, probably just is normal, Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner price action. But I'm looking.
just Bitcoiny stuff. Yeah,
Bitcoiny stuff,
it's
yeah.
jumped off our list. All right, last one. I'm going to go right to here. PLTR is usually a favorite with some of our members that like to look at that. Good volume this morning. Another 1.6 million shares so far. It's hasn't moved huge. It's up 2%. Let's check the daily. Yeah, it's been on a move upwards pretty consistently over the last couple of weeks. So, PLTR, I doubt, Megan, it has any specific news today.
No, I'm not seeing anything specific on it. Just some chat, like just regular chatter, nothing too interesting. Just the CEO saying a bunch of stuff about he did mention Trump's rise linked to Silicon Valley, and like he's defending a military partnership. It looks like it just seems very chattery. Nothing like super interesting that I think that would get this going. And, as we're talking through these stocks this morning that are on the gappers list, I just want to say to people, like, when you're thinking about trading something in the morning, one thing to really consider is, thinking about putting into some type of grading system for the catalyst that you're looking for, because you can have something that shows up on the gappers list that really isn't going to be in the best play for the day, because the catalyst is just, like I said right now, just like chatter or something like that. But you then get really good catalysts like a triple beat, raised guidance, a CEO exits, or some type of earnings release, or delivery report or something like that. That would be a better catalyst. So I think that, as you're kind of going through these in the morning, for anybody that's trying to choose something for their watch list, having some type of idea of what you like when it comes to catalysts can be really important, because something can be moving on just like the dumbest news and actually not do anything the rest of the day. So, it's really important to make sure that that catalyst actually is almost sustainable to keep the momentum going. So, and as you've been trading for a while, you'll start to understand what makes sense and what doesn't. And honestly, sometimes the market doesn't make sense at all, but it can at least give you some type of filter in the morning when you're picking out your stocks for the day.
Yeah, that's a great point, Megan, and you absolutely need your own criteria, because your style is going to be unique and different to anyone else's. So what we normally filter for here is, like Megan said, specific news that we think is going to give price action throughout the day, right? You don't want just that it moved on some silly little thing pre-market and then goes flat all day, because you're wasting your time watching something that's not moving. So I particularly have two main sort of criteria sets. One would be the gappers list, which is why we go through it, because it's unique every day. I want good news catalyst that's going to have ongoing price momentum and price action throughout the day that's going to create order flow. The second thing that I look for are stocks that don't need news, that I know move almost every day. So this is the stuff you hear me talking about all the time, right? Nvidia, Tesla, Microsoft, like the Magnificent Seven type stocks, they move. They always get volume. They always have price order flow. And they have a decent enough range that you can trade them even when there's virtually no news on them. So, there's a bucket of those stocks that I will watch all the time that I'm always mentioning, because I can get consistent price action out of them even when there's not news. The other stuff, I want to know that there's a solid catalyst. Now, you could have other criteria, just to go into that for a second. Megan, you and Eamon, I always think of you guys because you often will look at longer time frame charts, and you can have like daily moves that you'll be looking at, and it doesn't have to have a specific catalyst on the day, but you can see based on the overall price action over the course of the last days, weeks, or even months that it's setting up for a good potential move, and you'll just wait and see if that move actually translates into price action on the day.
Yeah, and there's kind of like two ways to look at charts, I think. And one is basically a fundamental or news catalyst, and the other is just a technical catalyst, right? We're on the edge of
Right.
something and something's about to break. And then if you get on the edge of something and you've got the news catalyst, well, that should move up on your list a little bit, right? So you've got you've got the technicals along with what you're seeing in the market with the news. But yeah, I'm more of a technical trader just in general. So even if something has really good news, if I don't see the technical setup, I'm usually not going to trade it based on higher time frames. But yeah, so there can be technical setups and technical catalysts per se, and then there's also the news and other catalysts.
There you go. All right. So let's get back to our list. We want to give you our thoughts on what we're looking for. Last one on the gap up list. It's interesting to me that it's gapping up. So this is why I'm just mentioning it. Doesn't have a lot of volume, but it's Stellantis, STLA. I was looking at them earlier this morning. It's interesting to me that the news isn't good on them. If we talked about this probably a couple of weeks ago when there were some earnings on the auto manufacturers. Stellantis is one of those, at least in North America, one of the biggest auto manufacturers you've never heard of because they bought up a whole bunch of brands, right? They own, if I remember, like Jeep and I don't know, a bunch of others that I always forget what their brands are. But they're sitting on this massive inventory because they've overbuilt for demand, and apparently they're being sued by. Because of the backlog and by a group of shareholders that feel they've been misled. I always love it when shareholders start to sue a company because they feel that the company misled investors and therefore the losses has got to be someone else's fault. To me, you made a bad investment. Move on. It's rare that they actually win these cases, but the lawyers get rich. So it's I don't know. We'll see what happens with this one. It's probably not going to go very far, but it is gapping up oddly 2% so far this morning, despite relatively negative news. But as you can see, based on the daily I'm showing you here, doesn't typically get good price action. So far this morning, it's pretty spotty, right? We're dealing pennies, and it's not moving very much, but. There you go. That's it for the gap up list. Let's go to the gap down and see if we have something more interesting to talk about. I'm going to start with what's at the top of my list here at LQDA, another Liquidia Corporation, another one I've never heard of. 1.4 million shares, down 35%. Let's look at the daily on this. Wow, it was
This looks like
actually heading
another
up.
biotech.
Oh,
It
I'm
looks
shocked.
like. Surprise.
So, did they do something bad? Well, it looks
It
like
looks like they issued something about a lawsuit. Looks like they filed a lawsuit against the FDA's action on lung disease treatment.
Mm.
So they don't like something that the FDA decided to do, it seems.
Yeah, the FDA only gave them a tentative approval of their lung cancer drug as opposed to a full approval. So the market is not happy with that, bringing the stock down 35%. Again, 1.4 million shares. I mean, the price action in the last 30 minutes has been okay. I'm not sure this is one I want to trade. What's the float on Liquidia Corp here? It's 51 million shares.
51.
Yeah. I'm on the fence on this one. Don't know that I love it. I don't totally hate it, but I don't love it either. So I'll probably wait. If it jumps up on my scanners a little bit later, I use the trading terminal scanners throughout the day. If it jumps up there, some members of our room mention it, I might take a look at it. But I'm probably not going to watch it from the open because I just don't think it's going to do anything particularly interesting from the open. All right. Next one.
That's a pretty. I would say the one thing I would say is that is a pretty crazy drop. They've basically lost 50% of their share price overnight, right? Like almost. So we're dropping from almost $14, and the low today is about almost $8. So it's pretty aggressive. When you look at the chart, it's one thing to say this has dropped really far, just looking at the chart. But then when you think about in terms of market cap and how much the stock was priced out on Friday versus today, that's really large.
Yeah. So the question for me always in these situations, being that they're only given partial approval, that's a disappointment. But will people see it as a buying opportunity and buy it back up, or will they continue to get out of the stock and it'll drop? Like I have more trouble predicting what it's going to do, especially right now as it's 9 o'clock and it's trending a little bit above VWAP. So yeah, I said, again, if you guys like it, by all means. It's just it's a tougher trade for me, and I don't like tough trades. I like the ones that I feel are simpler. So we'll see if we could find some more straightforward trades, like maybe Singular or Singulate, SING. Now it's been on our list quite a few times over the last little while. It is a biotech, so oh my god, it's on the list.
Maybe we should just skip over all of these biotechs and go to something more exciting.
Well, and Singulate, as you can see in the daily, right? It had been up last week, so we were talking about it last week. They'd had some good news. on one of their drug trials, especially in Europe. It looks like this is sort of like a second, third day play where it's now just giving back some of the gains. It looks like pre-market, it did try and move higher, but it's being pulled back right now. So yeah, it started the morning much higher and then has dropped down. Quite a big move, actually. Look at that. It was up as high as $24, now down at 14. Like that's pretty significant. So this thing obviously is very volatile. Again, it's one of those, if you don't mind the volatility, this could be a great stock. It's certainly getting the volume at 2.5, almost 2.5 million shares. But yeah, it doesn't sort of meet my risk criteria. So there you go. All right, let's keep moving on. RILY, B. Riley Financial. Anything? I saw this on a list earlier. I didn't see why it was falling though. Let's see. Their co-founder and co-CEO offered to buy the bank.
Yeah, buy a bank, it looks like.
Apparently the market doesn't like the fact that he might want to buy it. Is he one of these crazy people with a lot of money? I don't know. Anyway.
His face looks like he might be, so yes.
The market seems to think so. Anyways, I don't mean to malign B. Riley. But I mean, the company's named after him, so I guess. But anyways, yeah, the stock is dropping almost 9% this morning. Relatively low volume, so probably something we can just move on from. All right, I'm going to try and go through this list a little bit faster because I'm busy taking my time and having fun at it, but we got to move faster. Atmos Energy Corp. No, low volume, don't like it. BWLP. What the heck is this? BWLPG Limited. This is crap. I don't like it. I'm going to go right to the bottom with Serve. Just because Serve Robotics has been there. I am still waiting for somebody, one of our members, to send me a picture of their order of Shake Shack food that came to them in a Serve Robotics automatic robot. Kevin, you've seen one? Like actually like live in the wild out on the streets? That's cool.
I've seen one of those delivery robots out on the streets too. It was in LA.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that one in particular, but I've seen it, and I don't understand. How are people just not like kicking this thing over and like you never get your food? Can you imagine you come home, it's 2:00 in the morning, you've been out all night long, and you try to order yourself a Big Mac or something, and like the robot just never shows up? Like it's just terrible. It's terrible.
And the robot never shows up. It's my worst nightmare. The robot never showing up. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure which is worse, that or the robot actually showing up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, okay. So when you saw it, it was happily trundling its way down the sidewalk, or?
Yeah. No, it was like at the sidewalk ready to cross the street. And I was like, is that thing really gonna cross the street? Like, and it was starting to move, but I had to turn. So I turned my car and like I just never saw it. Like I never saw exactly what happened, but I was just like, really? It amazes me. Like, what if that thing like just hits a pothole, you know? Like there's so many things that could go wrong. Like I don't know. It's wild.
Well, maybe the market's a little concerned about their automated robots because it's down 3% this morning on relatively light volume. I don't know. I still find this a fun stock to talk about. We'll see what it does and what happens, but it's not particularly in play. There's nothing new out there on it, but we'll see what happens over time. All right, so that's the gap up and down list that I see, guys. Anybody in the room or on YouTube, what have you got? And while you're putting those together, Megan, anything that you're keeping an eye on that we should take a look at?
Yeah, I mean, some of the bigger names, obviously, like Nvidia has had quite the V reversal over the past 2 weeks. It is like if you're looking at the Nvidia chart, it is insane. Like this reversal that's happened, I know that the 95 area was something that I had mentioned about 3 weeks ago to keep on watch, just because that's kind of where the last area of bigger buyers looked like they were sitting. I was not expecting it to turn the way that it has. So with the amount of juice that it's had going, I'm keeping an eye on it to see if there's at any point, anytime soon, if anybody wants to kind of sell this a little bit, giving it a little bit of a pullback. I know that it has, earnings, I believe, are this week, are they not? I think they're on the 23rd. So I think that could, I think the semis just overall. Oh, 28th, Amanda's saying in the chat room.
28.
Okay,
Yeah.
28th. Everybody's saying 28th. So we do have earnings
Yep.
coming up. Either way, it's not necessarily, so it's not this week. But I think just the overall semis are on watch. Just the move that is made is crazy. So Nvidia for sure is something that I'll keep an eye on, and obviously any of the sympathy plays along with it. The semis overall. So AMD, the why am I SMCI? I was like, my brain just stopped working for a second, but it's back online, guys. SMCI is something that I have never traded, but I have a friend who was like, this has made up 93% of like my account this year or something like that. So semis overall, I'll have on watch. And then of course, Tesla and yeah,
Wait a second. Oh, hold on. Whenever someone says that, so I've got this friend that has an account that has 95%. Is that really you? That's not you, right?
No, it's not.
Oh,
I don't think I've
okay.
ever traded SMCI, to be honest.
Okay.
I usually stick to like AMD and Nvidia. But yeah, so it's not me.
Okay.
But
All right.
I'll keep an eye on those and Tesla, and the only other one that we talked about, I'll probably watch, as you say in Canada, ZIM.
Okay. All right. So she's warming up to the ZIM. We'll try and Americanize it. All right. Okay. So what I'm seeing, a couple people mentioning Google. I didn't see Google doing much this morning. I mean, it's got 1.4 million shares, so the volume's good. Let's look at the price action. It's okay, but not awesome. I mean, Google always has news, but I mean, it takes big news to move this. This is a big stock, so it takes a lot to get it going. I don't see any particular reason to expect it to move this morning, but it is one of those. You're at the Magnificent Seven that is, regularly in play. So you probably can't go too wrong by keeping an eye on it, just in case today is the day when it gets its movement. Out on YouTube, I see you guys mentioning AMD, PLTR, Google. Yeah, we took a look at those.
I think Google, just on the topic of Google, we were talking about the difference between some like news catalysts or, fundamental catalyst versus a technical catalyst. And I think Google is one of those ones that would be in the technical catalyst kind of territory. It's got this range that it created over the past week or so, and it's sitting right on top of it this morning. I think that could offer a possible technical play on just a bigger time frame. So that would be something to keep an eye out for if it's trying to actually change trend. We'd call this a change in chart structure. That it looks like it's trying to put in a change in chart structure. So off of the daily. So I do think Google would be something to keep an eye on. Whether or not I actually want to play it today is a different story. Keeping an eye on the volume with it is going to be important to get this going. But I do like the chart structure on it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on a 60-minute chart here, and you can see it is in this gap zone that it set back at the beginning of August, between the 2nd and the 5th over that weekend. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's from a structure, it looks like it's in the right place. I just find Google, you can sort of never know if or when it's going to move or not. It does it in unpredictable times. But, yeah, if you keep an eye on it, then maybe you're in the right position when it does happen. So, all right, why not? Google, not a bad secondary list. Okay. All right, so we're starting to get a list together here with a few between Megan and myself that we'll keep an eye on. I see a lot on YouTube. You guys are mentioning a lot of stuff that we've already talked about. So yeah, I think we've got it all covered. All right, we're 10 after 9. We got to get ourselves moving here. Why don't we take a look at what's happening at the Bearable Trading community this week? Every week, we always have a whole slate of activity for all of our members, both all members and then the elite members have their well, I can't even speak. Then you know what? I should hand it over to Megan.
Let's do it. All right, so today is Monday, you guys. So we have the DOS Trader Pro set up with Brendan in the onboarding room. So if you're newer to DOS and you're newer to trading overall, or if you've been around for a while and you've got some questions about your DOS platform, which by the way, I do get quite a few emails about people about issues that people are having with DOS. So this is a good time to go and get your questions answered. Ask Brendan. And even if Brendan doesn't know, it's always good to be in a room filled with other people who are asking questions about a platform, because they might have fixed something that you're having an issue with. So check that out. That's going to be today at 12 p.m. in the onboarding room. And then every Monday night we have onboarding. You'll see Carlos's face there, but tonight, instead, it's going to be mine. So you get me bright and early and you get me late at night. So that'll be tonight at 8 p.m. in the onboarding room as well. So if you're a new member, come check that out. Ask questions, kind of give you a little guide on how to work your way through the website and the community and just kind of get you started. So I'll see you guys there this evening. And then Tuesday. So Tuesday, coming up on Tuesday, we have a webinar tomorrow from Bruce Pringle, Order Flow Insights with Bookmap and Market Pulse. So if you're into Bookmap, this is a good one to check out. We've had a lot of Bookmap webinars recently, so it is a hot item in our community. So if you're interested in Bookmap and you want to attend that, that is actually tomorrow at a different time, which is 11 a.m. So typically our Tuesday strategy webinars are at 8 p.m. So take note of that tomorrow it is going to be at 11 a.m. And then the following week, we will have a tax webinar. I don't see the person doing that one. Joey Smith from Day Traders Taxes. There was no photo there. So it's a ghost that's giving that one to next week. So that's going to be on taxes. Yeah, do. You know what? We get a lot of questions on taxes. So please, everybody, please attend this. Please, because I can't tell you how many times a year I get questions about taxes, and I am not a tax person. I pay someone else to do that for me. So definitely attend this, get your questions answered about taxes. And then Wednesday is our psychology day. So next week we have Randy Howell coming to talk about dealing with your trading demons. So trading demons, we all have them. I definitely have them. Everybody has them. So check out Randy's webinar on Wednesday about your trading demons. And then the following week, we have Mike talking about trading mindset. And it's a support network for traders. So Mike is so great about just talking to new traders and talking with traders that have questions about just what they're going through. Obviously he's written a couple books. So if you haven't checked those out, definitely check those out, of course. But he will be here next Wednesday evening from Kansas City, probably, since he's just moved there, to talk about trading mindset. And then on Thursday, we have mentorship, of course, as always, and we kick it off with John at 11 a.m. Eastern for a lot of the newer members to come in there and ask their questions and get going. And then we roll into options at 2 p.m. Eastern with Jared and myself. So if you are newer to options or you've been trading options for a while, check out the mentorship on Thursday with Jared and I. And then Lenny is going to be at the close at 4 p.m. Eastern. It's your afternoon session with Lenny. And then you have Thursday that evening with Mr. Thor Young himself at 8 p.m. And it's your evening mentorship with Thor. So a lot of good mentorship that day. And then Friday, we all sleep in. At least I do a little bit sometimes. So that is your week. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up. So definitely check things out that are in here. And then, of course, come hang out with me tonight in onboarding. We're going to have a party. Then, of course, if you are not a member, please sign up and join us. We love having new members in the room. And if you're not ready to commit to anything, we have an intro membership offer. It's very cheap to be able to come in and hang out with us for 1 week. And we have the 1 week special going on right now for 1 week for $1. And the only reason it's $1 not free is to keep all of those bots and not real people out, the trash people. So come in for $1 and hang out with us. There's a lot going on in the chat room all day long. So what you see on the schedule and what we talk about going through the week on our schedule, that's just a small snippet of what you're going to get in our community. We are on all day long in the chat room. So, even though I only mentioned a couple things that are happening today, at 11, you're going to have Thor on the microphone. At 12, you're going to have me on the microphone. At one, you're going to have John on the microphone. So there's a lot going on that we don't actually put on our schedule. But we are here all day long talking through all kinds of different things. So definitely check us out for the low price of $1. And hopefully we'll see you in the chat room, because we only see you on YouTube and it's just sad. Come hang out with us the rest of the day.
There you go. And just speaking of Mike, who's going to give that webinar next week, he posted something that really struck me this weekend. We don't always talk about the trader lifestyle, but there's a reason why we're here, right? We want to day trade for a living. We want to day trade over the long term. And Mike was, I guess this weekend, he had a great weekend. He was traveling with his daughter who's in university and in South Dakota. He said, this is why I trade, right? So that I've got the financial freedom and just the freedom to travel. He was in South Dakota. He was seeing the sights. Look at him. There he is, all happy, visiting a music festival, seeing some fireworks. There he is in his natural habitat with a beer. But it's really just saying, he was basically saying, people ask why I do it, so that I can do this type of stuff, right? And he said, thank God he decided to do this instead of going into forensic accounting, which was his other career option. So you got to be careful, you got to be cautious, but there is opportunity. You can certainly trade for a living, but as any of us will attest, it is not easy. This is why we do these webinars every week. This is why we're here with you right now in the morning, to help you get ready for the market so that you can trade smart, trade mature over the long term. All right. Okay. Let's set some levels. I'll do it very quickly, only across a couple of offerings. Let's explain what we do when we set levels. Every day when we're looking at the stocks that are in play, that stuff that's on our list, we want to find out the areas that might be either support or resistance. Where is the stock price likely to show some reactivity? It means it may accelerate its movement or it may stop its movement at those levels. We're really looking for levels that have significance, usually on the daily chart. They have the most influence, the most power over the stock, because that shows where a lot of the money has been trapped over time. So if I look at NVIDIA, for example, we were talking about it's been moving up. And NVIDIA, if I go to a 60-minute chart, you can just sort of see it here, how it's been, sort of moving up over the last couple of days, putting it back into an area where there was a fair amount of price action, but it's coming at the top end of that. So if I look at a daily chart, I want to know, right, where is it likely to break through? And I can see back here in July, we had a little bit of a gap in the stock price, which means if this NVIDIA price can get over the low that it had set back here on the 16th of July, which was 128, what is the low? 44, right? That could be an area where it could accelerate higher because it got through sort of an area of where there were no orders, and it could be sort of free to move higher. So I definitely want to watch that. Notice that happens to coincide with the high of the previous day. So I've already got a level set there. On the upside, if it goes higher, well, really, I don't have anything great up here to 136. Seems like that's a long way to go for today. It's probably not going to move that high, but I'll set a level there just in case. And of course, I do have the previous 2 days automatically marked, the high and low of the previous 2 days, because that can sometimes be indicative of where there might be those areas of support or resistance. So I'll keep an eye on those for NVIDIA. Also on my list, we had talked about Tesla. Again, it's just a steady mover. It's not one of the ones that was on the gappers today, but we know it can move. You can see I already have a bunch of levels set on the daily that I've been looking at before, 225, 230, 234. Those have got me to the top side. On the downside, well, again, the lows of the previous 2 days are ones I'm going to keep an eye on down here. If it drops lower at about 211, and then what is the low of the day there? Low is 204.82. Those are definitely areas for me to watch, just in case we get some reaction, I guess, when it hits there. So those are the levels I'm going to be looking at Tesla. Let's move to some of the stuff on the gap resist. We'll start with ZIM. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but Megan, you said you sort of like ZIM and you were looking at it. Had you picked out any levels yet, or are you still working on that?
Yeah, I mean, for me today, just because of what it's broken out of, I'll probably just look for new highs off of ZIM, as you say. You Canadians. I lived in Canada for a year, and I definitely learned the lingo a little bit, like the toque and the Hey and A
Yeah,
and all that good stuff.
you bet.
But so I'll be looking for breaks to new high on this, and then we'll look for the all time high kind of resistance point as well. So if this actually gets up to about the 23, 24 area, I'll be checking it out there. But for now, this morning, probably just some quick momentum pops if it can break to some new highs, and if we get a little bit of profit taking at the open, I like to look for pullbacks with buying volume to come in to kind of get into the move as it starts moving up higher. So I will look for breaks to new highs and any sort of pullback dip buys, and that's kind of what I'll be watching on it. It'll be mostly momentum plays on this one. This isn't really like a stock that I would look for trend trades on, although it might trend trade. But this is something I'd be watching momentum plays on this morning.
There you go. We can see it's been a lot higher. If I go back in the weekly, it's been as high as like $90 in the last couple of years. But in the short term, we can see that it set a short-term high at 23.80. So I put a level there, and 23.30. We'll keep an eye on those. So thank you, Megan, for helping us set those levels. All right. And last but not least, I'll take a look at ASTS here, just ASTS. Just because, again, it's been on such a run. Again, the last 2 days give us some good ranges here, especially Fridays. You look at the high of Friday and the low of Friday, right? That brackets the price here, which means we might get what we call an inside day. An inside day is when it typically trades within the range of the previous day, which means we might see a little more muted price action. This is exactly what Jared was telling us we might see today. It looks like ASTS is setting up for that type of day. Looking back, I think remember, we're at all-time highs here in ASTS. So other than, what it did the last couple of days, I'm not going to find anything higher. Yeah, and we're sort of sitting in all-time high range here. So yeah, that doesn't give us a lot of levels. We may have to go to shorter time frames charts just to see where was the money trapped. And you can see over the last couple of days, look at how much of the day, I guess, in the last few days it's spent in the range it's sitting in right now. So certainly between $30 and about 30, looks like 33, right, is an area of congestion for price action. So yeah, we might see it sort of stay within that range. But if it breaks out above 33, like I was saying, the high of, what is this? The high of 2 days ago, right, which had set at 33.58, I definitely pay attention if it broke higher than that, just to see what it's going to do. So ASTS, potentially interesting. We got to wait and see if the volume comes in and if it becomes in play today. All right. So those are the ones that I was going to keep an eye on. Maybe there is one more on the list that Megan mentioned that I don't always love. SMCI, it can be tough because the spread. So the difference between the bid and the ask price is what we call the spread. And sometimes it can be very low, like in an AMD or NVIDIA, that spread is like 1 to maybe 5 cents. On SMCI, that spread can be up to $1 or more even at times. So you got to be careful about that. The spread right now is sitting at $1.60, but it's pre-market, so that's not necessarily indicative of what it's going to do. But even during the market day, you can get a larger spread on this, so you got to be careful. But if you do want to trade it, you definitely have some levels to pay attention to. Look, we got this little gap that happened right back at the beginning of August, and if we can break through, look at the high of yesterday and the day before, or Friday and Thursday, basically, which is in the 639.73 was the high on Friday. So, basically that 640 level. I'm going to watch. If it gets through that, we might have a potential to move a few dollars higher, because this has got big ranges, right? Like the next level is up here. It's sort of 660-ish. So, we got to pay attention to, or 658, I guess. We got to pay attention because it can get some movement. But again, right, big risk, big reward type opportunity here at SMCI. Just be careful if you choose to jump into that. All right, let's take a look at our moderators list. What are they watching? Is there anything different that they're taking an eye on that we haven't? Well, a lot of them, you notice, are covering some of the basics. AMD, NVIDIA, Tesla on a lot of lists. Lenny's also got Google on his list. ZIM that we talked about, PLTR, also on his list right there. I noticed Jared and Avi both have XPEV and Estee Lauder on their list. Not one I've looked at. And there's my alarm telling me we got 5 minutes to the market. I have to turn it off because it's over here. All right.
That's how Peter gets out of bed in the morning too. He has to put his alarm across the room so he can get out of bed.
I only have to charge my phone every 3 days, but this was one of those days, so it was plugged in over there. Estee Lauder, I didn't even look at that. What is Estee Lauder doing this morning that those guys are looking at it? The CEO is going to retire. and they had a weak sales forecast. So is Estee Lauder, what is it? Where they were looking at it, it's gapping up this morning. Interestingly, I don't know. I've never traded this, so I don't know what to expect. It was down most of the morning. Now it's moved into the green. So maybe they're right. Jared and Avi, don't question them, right? They have to know what they're talking about. So XPEV and EL are on their list. Mike is keeping it very tight with just NVIDIA. Megan, well, we talked about what Megan's looking at, NVIDIA, Tesla, and ZIM, or she'll pretend to be Canadian and talk about the ZIM. So either way, she might take a look at it. Or is going to be watching Tesla, Apple, Meta, NVIDIA, and of course his future options. It's a Monday, which means we don't really have any SPACs or IPOs. Basically nothing new that's opening. They don't typically open those on a Monday, so not a surprise there. Pierre is looking at NVIDIA, Tesla, AMD, and PLTR. Pierre posted pictures on the weekend trying to entice us to get to Colombia. Looking forward to that. Megan, you're committed, right? You're going? You're going to be there?
I'm committed. Yeah. I'm just finding my army of men to meet me at the airport so I don't arrive alone in Colombia.
We will make sure you are never alone in Colombia. It should be awesome. It's funny. I was talking to people this weekend, and they're, oh yeah, you got some trips planned. I'm like, I am going to Colombia. They're like, what are you doing there? I'm like, I don't know. We're just showing up. And Andrew and the team have got a great thing coordinated for us, so we're going to look forward to it. But anyways, Colombia should be a lot of fun. By the way, I think there's a couple of tickets. If you're interested in joining us in Colombia, check out our website. You can do that. If you got the newsletter, you'll also have a link to that. All right, Susan is watching some of the usuals, and Dell. She put Dell on the list, not one that we've talked about. Brian is in with his list, watching AMD, NVIDIA, Tesla, Google, and PLTR, all ones we've talked about this morning. And last but absolutely not least, Brendan is watching NVIDIA, AMD, Tesla, and Google. So you can see a lot of common factors there as people are watching the markets this morning. All right, we only have a couple minutes to the open. I see Brian is ready to go with his neon sign behind him. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, giving us the thumbs up. All right, Brian. We'll go over to live trading. I don't know who's trading live with Brian this morning. Is Andrew traveling or is he here?
Should be here.
Okay, we'll see if he's here. We'll give it to you. We only have 2 minutes. We ran late. Thank you, Megan.
You got it.
We'll talk to you at the
All right, trade safe, everybody.
Later. Trade smart.
Right now, I am. Good morning. I'm short NVIDIA with Jared. I think he got in at 125. I'm in at 124.70. So already taken a bit of a partial here. There is an order at 124. AMD selling off. AMD announced they bought a company, some company. And it's weird. Haven't seen that before. Well, that's some kind of verification code note. I think it's one of Megan's robots that she's worried about. Oh, did you get it too? Yeah, weird, eh? Don't worry about the robots, Megan. They'll take care of themselves. All right. Q's just took a bit of a nosedive. Same with the SPY. So we're looking like we're going into the open a little bit weak here. Said I'm short NVIDIA right now. Showing NVIDIA on Bookmap. There's an order there, 124. So let's see, where can we go with NVIDIA? All right, ding, ding, ding. Here we go. If anybody else wants to jump on, apparently Andrew's not up yet or around. There's the ding. And, little bounce up on NVIDIA. Tesla's moving. Wow, PLTR really dropping here. Holy cow.
Still here with you, Brian. Yeah, I'm watching Tesla. Yeah. What a pop up here.
Jeez, yeah, I know. 220 could go to 220. Okay, here we go with NVIDIA. should have added to that short. We'll see what happens. We're getting a bit of a pop here. A bit of volatility. I'm just waiting. I think we're going to get another flush here on NVIDIA. Might cover some more here. I'm going to cover some more here.
AMD. Hoping we get a sympathy move on AMD to follow NVIDIA down. Come on, AMD.
Just covered some more.
There we go.
123.90.
Taking a partial on AMD. Oh, looks like we're getting a bounce back. All right. Well, that was a short-lived trade. I'm out of AMD, stopped at break even. So I got two little partials and then a stop. Look at me trading the open.
Yeah. There is some more stuff to the downside here on NVIDIA. Google bouncing back.
Wow. What a bounce back on AMD. Let me share my trade with everybody in the room. Just not that it's that exciting, but carefully managed means you can, make a little money quick. So
covered a little more 123.80 on NVIDIA.
Wow. Tesla back down again.
Yeah, that was quite the pop and drop. Glad I didn't chase that. They always call the first couple minutes amateur hour. That's what the professional traders call it.
Because that's when they take money from the amateurs, yes.
Well, they just kind of sit back and let the amateurs do their thing.
Wow, AMD pumping up here. Apple is down as well now.
Considering
SPY is slightly green. Well, the Qs are green now,
the rest
too.
of NVIDIA. Getting out of the rest of NVIDIA. I think it looks like it's going to try to pop here. It's right at the VWAP. Looks like it might want to now reverse and go up. Google's I'm looking at Google. Google's interesting.
And we had a couple people watching Google. Let's see if it can break through this high it set pre-market. It's coming right up to here at 165.86 would be that level. Pretty much hit that number.
Long NVIDIA. Let's see if it's right at S4 though. That's the problem with that. Or R4, I should say.
Really? I don't see that either. But, all right, it hit yesterday's or Friday's close. Let's see if it can break through it. Bounced off of that.
Actually, no, that was Google. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong chart there.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Big order at 125 on NVIDIA. Here we go.
Tesla's gone red.
Yeah, Tesla's crazy. Qs are dropping here. I'm getting out of NVIDIA. Bounce back up. Yeah, some crazy price action. Let's just keep an eye on NVIDIA. Tesla might be a short, but I don't want to chase it here either. PLTR is on red on the day. And dang, video really feels like it wants to go here higher, but there's a seller there at 124.60.
Yeah, right at Friday's close level. NVIDIA's struggling to push through that.
Just hanging out here. Had one good short this morning, and one in the long that I kind of lost a few bucks on, but overall still green on NVIDIA's trading.
Tesla.
Yeah,
Tesla's looking weak here. I want to go short Tesla as well, but I'm afraid of the bounce on it because it loves to do that.
It does have a tendency to do that. Anyway, here's NVIDIA dropping. Yeah, really choppy price action.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait. This feels like a day. It's probably a good thing that Andrew is sleeping, and this is the type of day where he can lose some money.
Yeah, you chase stuff around here. It's
exactly.
See what happens here. NVIDIA looks weak now. The Qs just took a big drop.
Yeah, they were
and
trying to go green
a lot here. Yeah,
dropped. Yeah, moving a little lower here on Tesla.
Yeah, the Qs are really dropping.
Maybe I shouldn't have been so tentative on it, but oh well. NVIDIA's new low.
Yeah, NVIDIA's 125, 123.50.
AMD is holding on to green, but it's looking very choppy, very ugly. See if the SPY is now heading lower too. New low of day. Still green, but looking weak. Mike J, what have you got here? Good trade on Tesla. Oh, you did. So you took it short when it broke to a new low of day, and yeah, just hanging on here. Good for you.
Ooh, beware of the bounce on NVIDIA.
Yeah. Beware of the bounce.
See what the Qs do here in the SPY. The SPYs really hasn't done much. The Qs are the ones that are kind of selling off here. NVIDIA ripping back up. Wow, this is really difficult morning to trade. Nothing really trending yet.
Wow, yeah, it's
a lot of choppy price action.
Microsoft is red, Apple red and moving lower. Oh, wow. AMD oddly moving higher.
Yeah, maybe it's popping here. Wow. Wow. NVIDIA right back to high of day.
Bucking the trend. You guys are saying AMD has news this morning?
AMD spent $5 billion on some company. I don't know who it was. Now NVIDIA looks like might want to go to 125.
Yeah.
Wow, that was
ZT Systems.
Jeez.
Look at this. All the Zs today. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm Canadian. I'm going to keep saying Z. ZT Systems. Anyways, they yes, you're right. They spent $4.9 billion buying this company. So
It was $5 billion deal or something like that.
$5 billion. Yeah. Okay. Well, oddly, usually the company that's doing the acquisition drops after spending the money, but it looks like people are
Yes.
thinking it's a good move for them as AMD is moving up on that news. So that's a little bit of
Well,
a
AMD actually, I think they actually did drop on that news. We did go red at the open, but now, of course, everybody's buying into the idea. So,
Well, when you're in the hot sector, everybody's talking AI, and if they think this is going to help them with their AI infrastructure, then
mhm.
AI infrastructure for hyperscale computing companies. Okay, so it's
Yeah, NVIDIA got to that 125 level. There was a big order there, so they filled that. Still looks like maybe NVIDIA wants to go higher, but it might be encountering some resistance here. See what it does.
Interesting. All right, well, AMD, it's on the move. Tesla bouncing back here a little bit. So this is the bounce that I said to be aware of. It's right back at Friday's close. Look at the cues have made that run down and then bounce back up to come green
that
again.
was pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well done, Brendan.
Yeah,
Brendan's
there
trading
we go.
green.
I'm back. I am back long in AMD or NVIDIA, I should say. 125 breakout.
Okay.
Now it's going to pull back. I think it's still got some room to run here. Q's just came ripping back here. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, what a unbelievable V reversal on NVIDIA. Hit some level there.
Yeah, especially being that it had been in the choppy range, I'll say, early on, and it just blew right through that. Get higher. Let's see if we can hold the 125 and go higher. High of pre-market here set back around 8 o'clock, 125.67 would be a good level for it to get through.
Yeah.
Do it for Brian. Come on, NVIDIA.
Let's do it. Let's do this.
Well, this is not typically where I trade. I like to stay out of trouble at this time of day. So I'm going to be watching and waiting for the longer setups now, which means probably no trades for me for the next 30 to 45 minutes. We'll see what happens, though. Got to keep yourself open to opportunities, but I know that their setups take a while.
All right. Well, NVIDIA's taken a bit of a pause here, but this is, we're right at Friday, I should say, Friday's high. So see what it does here.
Okay.
Tesla came bouncing back up.
Okay, Paul, I see you mentioning SUBX. Do you mean Starbucks, or you're watching SBUX? Just a little... Maybe you're watching Starbucks. It looks like it's definitely in a range, so it fits your description.
Okay. I'm going to get out of this trade too. I don't really like how it's sort of stalling here, so I can exit right now without any loss. I just don't like the price action. It might go back up, but it's sort of put in a lower high, and so I'm going to go out of that trade, but just no continuation through R3 here. Not thinking it's going to drop, but I'm just not seeing the buying enthusiasm. The volume's really dropping off here. And we'll see where it goes from here. Probably, now that I'm out of it, it's probably going to go up. But like I said, just not really liking the price action. All the Qs are looking like they're going to go here. Tesla back to R3, and AMD looking like it's going to break out here. It's trying.
Tesla's made a comeback here. We'll see what it does at this 218 level. And Nvidia and AMD both seem to be stuck here in a range. See if they can move out the top side. One and done for Gary L. All right, nice. Nice, Gary. The French VWAP trader. I like the name here in the chat room. So you're long Tesla from VWAP. Well, then you're liking this. See if you can get over 219. Nice. Looks like it's going to get there. There you go. Oh, there you go. 219 hit. High of day 219.58. Jared in the room is saying the French VWAP is a VWAP but full of bread and cheese. Don't forget the red wine. Some red wine. Mais oui, c'est ça.
Mais oui.
Oh. And attitude.
And attitude, yeah, you got to have the attitude. Let's see what Tesla looks like here. Yeah, it definitely looks like a 220 trade for Tesla.
Yeah, just about to get through that high of day. Let's see, 68 we said was that level. Oh, it did touch it, 69. It went higher by a penny. Excellent. For those of you that got Tesla that were taking it long off of VWAP, good for you. Nice trading.
Yeah, that was a nice VWAP breakout after we had that big sell-off.
Let me tell you.
There goes NVIDIA. Eventually, NVIDIA broke out.
Yeah, ALZN halted here on volatility. Looks like it's going to reopen at 9:50 and 59 seconds. So that's 1 minute from now. Keep an eye on this ALZN just to see what it does when it reopens. About 40 seconds. Like I said, when we said this pre-market, these can be good to trade. I mean, if you look at the price action on this, you might love it. But when it halts like this, it just shows you, right, that's volatile and it's got some risk in it. There is opportunity there, but you got to balance that with the risk profile. So. Normally, a volatility halt is 5 minutes, unless it has repeated volatility halts, in which it can be longer. So this one should reopen in about 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Right on schedule. It reopens. Popped up a little higher, so that's a good sign. Hitting $10.
Oh, this is ALZN.
ALZN, yeah.
This must be the low float du jour.
It is. It is trading 27 million shares already this morning, up 400%. And look at that! It just popped 50 cents from 10 to 10.50, just like that. So
yeah.
So we might head to a second. Next volatility halt looks like it's at $11.80 right now, or $11.79 to be exact. We'll see if it gets there. Touching 11. There you go. 11 hit. If we cross over the minute, that volatility level is going to move. See, they're fun to watch, but you got to really have good risk management. See, the volatility move is now 1232.
Yeah.
Comes up and hits that. That's where it's going to halt. If you guys don't know where those halts are coming, by the way, if you look at your level 2 and whatever platform you've got, it should have a level up number. I see the level up on my DAS platform here at 1232. It sort of shows you where that is, so you know what number you got to be worried about, because if you want to take partials before you get there. So, it just moved again. The volatility level now is $12.87. And here we go. We just hit it.
We just hit it.
And it looks like it's going to halt because it's hit that volatility level. We got a bunch of orders that are just filling, and then we're going to see the halt come in. So this is our second halt of the morning on this. So, if you were in it, obviously you're getting a great move, right? Because it's up a whole bunch, but you got to be careful. So here we go. Halted again, officially halted at 9:53:01. So you basically just add 5 minutes to that time, and it should reopen at 9:58:01. So there you go. All right. We can go back to some of our regular stocks because that's not going anywhere for 5 minutes. NVIDIA still struggling.
Back to our regular scheduled program.
Yeah, exactly. Regular scheduled stocks.
So we had a bit of a comeback on the Qs, but not much. Now it's we rejected at R3. Maybe Thor has shorted the NQs there. It's kind of his trade.
And I see Colton is pointing out. Sorry, Colton is pointing out the room. There's a limit up and a limit down in there, so it works both ways, right? The volatility halt can happen on the top and bottom side, and you see those limits often right at the bottom of your montage or your level 2 window all the time. It's just they have to have that extreme volatility for them to hit. Like even on NVIDIA, there's limit up and limit down numbers because they're automatically calculated, but it would be very unusual for something like NVIDIA to hit them. It just doesn't move that far that fast. So NVIDIA, couldn't get through that level. It's looking a little weak now. The market looks like it's gone in choppy. Look at Apple.
Yeah.
Apple going lower. Apple would have been a nice...
I was going to say Google turned into a big nothing burger.
The big old nothing burger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, those aren't that
kind
tasty.
of looked promising at the open.
I was looking at Apple. I missed it, but you can see it would have been a good trade for sort of a VWAP bounce to the downside here. You can see those two uncertainty candles right at the VWAP around the 225 price. Could have taken that short. I think I was busy over here watching ALZN and NVIDIA and other stuff, but Apple had some signals if you were paying attention to it. Steve, you want a nothing burger?
AMD bounced off the VWAP.
Yeah, so did NVIDIA.
And, yeah. Liquidia had a nice bounce off the VWAP. Yeah, Q's had a couple of red candles there, and now we're not sure if we're holding here or going back up.
All right. Yeah. A little bit of a bounce on most things right now.
Yeah. A bit of a bounce here. Again, it's kind of there isn't a lot of we had a few earnings like ZIM, but they're not a lot of economic stuff to trade on. Kind of coming off a pretty strong week last week, and we've got everybody looking forward to Jackson Hole. When's
that happening?
Thursday, Friday, and Powell will be speaking on. Powell is speaking on Friday.
Okay.
So I think people will be. He tends to expound a bit. I think at Jackson Hole, so I think people will be looking for him to give some kind of more of an affirmation that there possibly will be a rate cut coming in September. It's actually not that far off now.
No. Let's check the FedWatch tool and see what the opinion is. It was about 50-50. You see, it's getting heavier that it's now 75-25 that there's going to be a quarter point cut versus the expected, potential 0.5% cut. So, yeah. ALZN, if you're watching that, about to reopen in about 5 seconds here. 3, 2, 1, and we're open. Okay, so this is open with a gap down. That's not usually a good sign.
That's never a good sign.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here, but just be careful. Like I said, if you're trading this, I want everyone to be very careful. Could do anything now.
Yeah, generally speaking, 2 halts on a stock like this is, there's nothing safe about these, but at least 2 halts you can be, the odds are you're going to be okay. But this is really looking like it's having a challenge. Yeah. But that third halt is often, is more, you're starting to push your luck. Let's just say that.
Yep. And it looks like this one won't even get to a third. At least the third halt might be on the downside. It's really struggling here, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Like I said, it could do anything here, so be careful, especially if you're holding this, looking for a big gain. This thing can go down as fast as it goes up. So
if you're hodling.
If you're hodling. Hold the door. Oh, Brendan will not answer that. Other than say no, it's nothing like All right. Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of chop here. Guys, we do have a special guest on 10:30. Jared's going to be joining us, give us a perspective on the markets. He does his engineering the markets Monday through Thursday in the chat room for all our elite members, those that are on early, and he's going to be joining us here on YouTube to talk about his perspective on the market and what he's seen so far in the morning. So stay tuned for that 30 minutes from now. Good buddy, Jared. Can't go wrong with the J-Rad.
Yeah. Is that in another room?
Or no, right here. It'll be on YouTube. It won't be in the chat room, just on YouTube.
Yeah, it's going to be on YouTube.
It's going to be on YouTube? Okay.
The voice of Brent from...
I'm so low, I don't know why. One sec.
From our...
Let's see. He's speaking in sultry, sexy tones.
Yeah. Brent's voice coming from our editing headquarters in beautiful Toronto, Canada.
Tirana. Holdings like diddling, yeah. Something like that.
No, it's nothing like that, Brian. That is wrong. All right. Looks like the fun might be over on ALZN. It's just hanging out here, but AMD is heading back down here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Still green.
AMD,
but
AMD and NVIDIA are kind of rolling over here.
Mhm.
I know Thor is still short the Qs. I'm almost sure of it. Yeah, AMD took a bit of a nosedive there. Let's see what. Wow. This could be coming down to 149. Some orders there.
Apple might have leveled here a little bit. See volumes tapered off on it. Tesla back to Friday's close.
NVIDIA's gone red on the day. Interesting.
Yep.
Brian, Peter, we have
Yeah.
over 700 people watching, but only 313 likes. We really
Well,
need to
that's
pump
They
not-
don't
those
like
likes up.
us. Come on,
I
yeah.
guess.
Appreciate it. Anybody, if you're out there, hit the like button. That helps us out. Don't want to get in trouble with the boss when he gets back.
Just slide that mouse pointer over to the thumbs up.
There
Give
you
it
go.
a click. It's pretty easy.
Appreciate that.
If you're liking
Really
live
appreciate it.
trading, this will help the algorithm spread these type of videos to other people if you like our video. So keep the
Yeah.
likes up.
Oh, thanks.
Keep the likes
Thanks,
going.
everybody. See people
And then,
responding at 100 in
we'll
a
keep-
few seconds.
We'll keep giving away laptops.
Yeah. AMD heading down to the 149 level, Brian, that you called
Yeah.
out. So is getting a little bit of a bounce now that it sort of touched. Well, it didn't quite get to 149, but within pennies. Within 1 penny, in fact.
Within 1 penny.
Yeah. R2 level there, but
Probably an area we might see a bounce.
obey the algorithms, human. Yeah, it is a shame that we are, we sort of live as slaves to the YouTube and Google algorithms, but welcome to our lives, right? That's the way it goes.
All right.
Wow,
Well, there's
all
your
right.
bounce on AMD.
Yeah, I see that. AMD bouncing right back up here. Mike J got a low day trade on Starbucks, so well done, Mike, posting that trade in the room. Megan. I just saw Megan posted. Time to dance, boys. All right.
Time to dance. We're going
Time to
on.
dance, she said. I'm
doing
not sure
a-
if that means
doing a
she's
chop.
shooting guns at our feet and she's making us dance, or we're doing a square dance together. Or...
Are we doing a cha-cha with one of those robots?
Maybe. ALZN, yeah, I see ALZN actually managed to get higher than the stop level here. Hit 14, back down below it. It's again, it's now into a very tough range to trade. So looks like the fun's over here.
Yeah, the momentum's kind of gone out of it.
Brent, we'll have to get you to add the halts into your charts so that we can see where it's halted. I find it helpful, anyways.
Yeah, I'm working off of a DAS demo version, so I do help with that.
All right. Well, here, let's do that in case anybody needs to know. Let's see if we can do this real time. You right-click on your chart, go to Data Configure, Brent, and then there's a thing there that says blank bars automatically. See that one? Click that. Blank bars on. There you go. Well, you had to click in the little box there where it says to make it enabled. There you go. Then save that bad boy. And you notice your chart, hit OK. See how it now shows you where it sort of goes sideways? You can see where it's halted now a lot easier. So there you go.
Done. Perfect. Thank you.
Look at that.
Done deal. I'm looking for something to trade here. And we seem to be kind of choppy. NVIDIA's moving back up a little bit. Tesla's moving back up again. Kind of feels like AMD wants to drop. But it's holding a level here too, so I'm not really, it's not a great place to take an entry.
I agree with that. Don't like these mid-range holds because it could move up or it could move down. I don't see a lot of indication. Level 2 is not telling you much. Brian, I know you've got Bookmap. I'm not sure if it shows anything, but the level 2 is not really showing me any orders that are sitting that's likely to go.
There's a big order around under 148, but and there's a few little orders a little lower than where we are right now, but we're kind of between here and the VWAP, so but we kind of held R3 there, so that's maybe an area we're just going to bounce from here back to the VWAP. Yeah. Qs are bouncing again. Yeah, pretty choppy session overall.
For me, I just have that one trade at the open where I tried to take AMD short, got some quick partials, and then stopped out pretty quickly, of course, as AMD went higher. So, like I mentioned, my trading style means that I'm waiting probably another. It looks like based on how choppy it is, and that a lot of stocks are mid-range, meaning they're not at the highs or lows. It's probably at least another 20 minutes, probably longer, before I'll get a trade opportunity. So a little quiet here for me this morning.
Yeah. Said,
for those of you that
go ahead. Yeah.
At Zero's posted that made some good profit this morning, up over $1,000. That's good. Since you're here early, let's do an early poll. I want to see how people did at the open. I know we're only 38 minutes in. Sometimes it's interesting to see how people did real early. So let's send a poll out to everybody in the chat room. Let me know how your day's going. Eli's posting up over $2,000. Nice, well done.
Nice.
Made money on everything but ZIM.
ZIM. It's
like Will.i.am?
What is that? Yeah, Will.i.am, Sam.i.am. What is that? Is that a Dr. Seuss?
Dr. Seuss, yeah. I do not like Dr. green eggs and ham.
There you go. That's it. That's what I was thinking. All right, well, we bounce back. Let's just see where the Qs are going to go here. SPY is at, SPY tried to break out high of day and kind of pulled back here. So see if this pullback is going to hold on the SPY. All the indexes are actually green on the day, which is interesting. Netflix is... So I mentioned that on my swing trade video on the weekend, Netflix, and I was watching Netflix and one other stock, PLTR. So I'm long on a swing trade on that. And it's still looking pretty good here. It's still continuing higher.
All right, thanks everybody. I'm going to shut down the poll in a couple of seconds. When you get a chance, if you can click on that if you haven't already. A lot of people have responded. Looks like it's a relatively good day out there for our traders.
CMG maybe. Well, the Qs are back near high of day. EMD is just chopping sideways. Looks like we're going to get to 220 on Tesla. Let's see. Tesla's got some big orders there. If you're in it, I would stick with it. Again, volume really dropping off on a lot of stocks now. So, yeah, sort of the excitement's over for the morning.
Indeed. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, so our members have responded. Pretty good response, right? We've got 42%, and I can share this with everybody on YouTube. 40% of our users who are trading live say that they're green. 27% who are trading live are red. In simulator, those that are green, 12% of all of our traders, 6% are red, and 14% just watching. Pretty typical numbers here. So yeah, it's great. I mean, not everybody can be green on every day, but to get 42 plus 12, right? 54% of everybody trending green in the early. Obviously, it's early still. But that's not bad. So congrats to everybody that's green. If you're red, you know what? Just be patient.
Just got Tesla through 220 there. That was pullback opportunity to get long. Whew. Right.
Oh wow, nice pop.
Yeah, got a nice that little pullback there was the opportunity to get long on that. If you hadn't been in there already.
Jared's liking it too. He's giving us an old yeehaw.
Yeah.
So
yeehaw. Yep. There you go.
Yeehaw. Yeah, good volume on that spike too. You can see on Tesla. So it's always help accelerate things.
There we go. Beauty. All right, guys. So a couple of trades, short NVIDIA at the open, and long NVIDIA that didn't really work out, although it could have worked out if I'd have stuck with it. Just didn't like the way it was trading. Could have gone either way on me, and then just a nice pop on Tesla. It's kind of what I was waiting for another opportunity to trade.
Gary, what are you doing? I thought you were one and done, Gary.
It's Gary's rocking and rolling.
Yeah, adding to the pile. Extra profit for the day. Well done, Gary.
All right.
Nice trade.
I got 221 on Tesla. I'm going to sell some more here. There's a sort of order at 222 here. that could be gravitating to.
That's what Jared's looking for. Said he's added in at a lower level, looking for
Right.
the pop to 222. If you're not a subscriber, by the way, consider subscribing to the Bear Bull Traders channel. If you just found us, and we can get a notification whenever we have live video updates. Plus, we also have some of our strategic videos that get posted in here. So, appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to join us in the chat room, we still have our $1 deal. Not to market to you guys, but I guess I am marketing to you. So $1 for 1 week, just to see if it's the type of place you want to hang out. It's good stuff. You know, we talk a lot. Of course, I'm trying to give you an idea of what we're looking at. You know, a lot of our traders are posting their trades, telling us what they're looking at. It helps to have all these eyes on the market, right? Things like ALZN that some people were looking at and pointed out. So we were able to watch that this morning, and different members with their trades on different stocks. It's helps. I don't know. Love the community. We got a lot of great traders in here and great people. So
yeah, just remember if you are on YouTube, you are getting a delayed feed. So
yeah,
can be a bit of a disadvantage.
not hugely delayed, but enough that you definitely don't want to be trying to trade off of anything we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the SPY move down here. Aggressive move down,
Wow.
back, gone red here. The Q's moving down as
That's
well,
crazy.
so they've both gone red. Taking Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, all
Yeah.
seem to be going with it. Tesla hasn't succumbed yet, but it's not good for Tesla's upward move to 222. Yeah, what did we get? Was there news on this?
What
What's going on?
was that? Was the it wasn't typically news doesn't happen at 10:18, 10:17.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, that was quite the drop.
Well, we did mention that there was a speech going on. Looks like Neil Kashkari, president of the Fed Reserve in Minneapolis, made a statement that people have interpreted that here's a statement. The balance of risk has shifted, so the debate about potentially cutting rates in September is an appropriate one to have. So not really saying anything we don't already know, but the indication that maybe they'll consider not cutting rates with the balance of risk shifting is probably what brought the market down, right? Because everybody, again,
Maybe
100% of the analysts are all expecting a rate cut. The debate was just whether it would be a quarter point or half a point. The suggestion even that there might not be a cut at all is, I think, what we're reacting to.
Neil Kashkari, I don't even think is a voting member of the Fed, and he's like a perma bull or perma bear, I should say. All right, keeping an eye on Tesla here for the rest of my position.
Yeah, he continued with his statements, warning to caution about the size of potential rate cuts, saying that he sees no reason to lower rates by more than a quarter percentage point. So basically suggesting if he had a vote, he would say maybe you shouldn't even lower rates. So yeah, so this is certainly makes sense why the markets took that sudden downturn. So there you go.
Yeah, he likes to make statements that get him news coverage.
You think it's just a media play? I don't know that. I mean, everybody's got a boss. I don't know that his bosses would appreciate you taking the markets down a couple of points just to promote the brand.
Well, you know, in the old, and not going to say the old days, but days gone past, the Feds, most of the Fed members kept pretty quiet.
Yep.
They didn't run around making speeches, and nowadays they
Well,
all sort of make these speeches to different different venues. So it's kind of it's a bit of a different world right now.
yeah, it certainly is, Brian. Like, you and I would remember back in like the Greenspan days when like there was only one voice, and it was
Yeah,
just Greenspan.
exactly. Yeah,
No one else would
exactly.
dare speak. But you're right. There seems to be a few more of
A few more
the Fed
voices out there
members.
now.
Yeah, more voices, exactly.
All right. Well, see, Tesla kind of did a pullback. I was looking for that bounce there. So,
Wow. All right, we're getting another bounce here.
thought,
Oh, look at Megan. We know she's in the game. She's drawing boxes. Megan's drawing boxes.
yeah, Megan's drawing boxes. Here we go. Now we're gonna maybe make an assault on that 220 again. That would be kind of cool.
Oh my goodness, what's happening in my computer?
Wow, AMD came ripping back.
Let me just share with everybody on YouTube. See, this is what since Megan was on with us this morning. This is when Megan starts drawing boxes. You know it's serious. She's got. Looks like she's got trades in the boxes. 2 green, 1 red. So 2 worked, 1 didn't. But that's what happens, right? You take your bets, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So there you go. Thank you, Megan, for sharing your trades.
All right. Wow.
The wolf.
This. Come on. Mm-hmm. All right. We're looking for 222 on Tesla now.
As the wolf says in the room, you're absolutely right. That's why we have to make trades with good risk to reward. That's a key to our trading and our trading philosophies here, right? Because you can't have the outsized risk profile, because that's when you get hurt. You don't want to make 5 good trades, make some good money, and then lose it all in a single trade. So, gotta be careful on that.
All right. Well, this is where things do slow down a bit. So we're just waiting for Tesla to see if we can sort of mount another assault on this level 222.
Storm the gates.
Storming the gates. Yeah. AMD is looking nice, fairly strong here. Here we go. Now we're through 221. There we go. This is looking better. I'm getting more orders building here at just above this level.
Let's see if we can make it. Got to break through that high of day.
AMD is going to go through 152 here. There you go. There's your move through 152. We're back at near high of day on AMD. Its high of day is 152.32.
ZIM. The ZIM is at a high of day too.
Oh, look at ZIM go. Yeah.
I don't know what that chart. There you go, Brent. ZIM.
Here goes Tesla. We're just breaking high of day here. Slow grind. Here we go. 222, baby. Here we go. Come on.
You can do it.
You can do it. Had a bit of a flurry of volume there.
Brian, just jump in there, buy about 50,000 shares. That should push it over.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny watching some of the volume on this. Some you know, 1 share, 2 shares. I don't know who's buying 2 shares, but or more important, who's selling 2 shares.
Big M, you want Brian to say diggle wiggle? Do you mean
diddly, yeah.
Diddly
Doodly. Here we go. Come on.
Diddly doodly.
Here we go. You want 222. Come on.
You know you want it. Oakley dokley, good neighbor.
Yep.
Here we go. It does look like it's going to try. We got some orders building up at 222. Oh, it is struggling to push through.
Yeah, there's a lot of sellers just front running this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
right at this level here, the 221.75. It looks like they keep absorbing the buy volume every time it hits there. See if we can get through. If we can get through the 80.85, then you should have a good run. But hit the ceiling here.
SPY's back high of day. AMD's high of day.
All right, well, we're going to watch and see if Tesla gets through there. Brian, had a good live trading morning. So for everybody in the chat room, maybe Brian's going to get back into the chat room and talk to you guys for a minute.
Yep.
On YouTube, we're going to go live with Jared. Jared's going to give us some perspective on the market in just 1 minute here. Thank you again, Brian, and everybody for being with us. Don't forget.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on YouTube this morning, trading live. Hope you had a good morning. It was a pretty little choppy, quite choppy, actually.
Yeah, it was.
But
and you will see, certainly with my style, right? I mean, Brian's here every day. You know how he trades, and I'm much more cautious. So really, my key trading time is starting right now and goes forward. So I don't have many trades, but that's sort of by design. So.
So we'll just wait to see if we can get to this 222 on Tesla. So
yeah,
and
here we go.
For the guys, for people on YouTube, we'll flip over. Here we go. Yeah,
there it is. Look at that, right there.
We got the print. 222.04 was the high. We sold some. Still have a little bit left, but very small quantity. So we hung in there long enough to see the 222. So take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy your session with Jared.
Thanks, Brian. So Jared, welcome. I noticed you changed shirts. You had a different shirt on this morning, Jared.
Yeah, let's test out the audio here. How we looking?
Sound good to me.
Let's see. I've got a bit of an echo on my end.
Wow.
Yeah, you're just
My
going to have
voice
to
is so
mute
nice you
the
want to hear it
tab
twice.
on the screen share one. Just right click on the tab and it should mute it.
That's already done. Yeah, I'm still getting an echo.
Do you have the sound muted in the chat room?
Yes.
Oh, well. Then I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what. If it's just me, then I can stop talking and you can talk and it'll probably just sound fine.
Let's go ahead and do that for now. Okay. Unfortunately, it's me that's the echo.
Well, I can't help you with that.
Test. Yeah.
No, I don't hear you at all. Oh, here we go. Tesla back up through 222. Pushing
How
higher
about
now,
this
finally.
configuration?
Sound good to me.
Are you still getting echo?
Yeah. Audio from the main screen is echoing. So can I pipe audio from the screen share?
Oh, yeah, I have that down on my end. And if you already muted the tab, yeah, I don't know. Is there a volume button on the second vMix window?
Let's see.
Sorry, live troubleshooting for everybody. We're trying something new here.
Not seeing volume.
No.
Oh, okay, that worked for Carlos and I. So I wonder, are you using Firefox?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Jared, one of the things that I've done in the past is if you go on the second screen that you actually don't want to broadcast your voice through, just change the microphone to a microphone that's not in active use. It might actually stop it.
Already done.
Because then you won't be broadcasting. Oh, you already did that. All right. You're on top of it all.
Okay, maybe just close the second vMix one. We won't share your screen today. We'll test that out later. Sorry, it worked for Carlos and I, so curious why it's not working on your end. Did that fix it?
Okay. Let's try that out then. Yeah, and that removes the echo, so.
Okay, we'll test that out later
okay.
on your end.
Then I might require Peter to do a little screen sharing.
Oh, you bet. Tell me what you need.
Let's see if I can unmute him.
Well, you can also share your screen on this call. We just won't see you, but that's fine.
Okay.
It's better that you're more interactive.
Yeah, y'all saw my shirt. Y'all know what I look like, so good to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and start here. As we discussed earlier, for those on YouTube, we're kind of looking to do a little bit of market overview and looking ahead while also using information from the previous week. We certainly had a lot of volatility last week that I think needs to be noted, and a lot of that volatility being to the upside was indicative that some of the rebound we saw from 2 weeks earlier was more about a recovery in the market, kind of pushing back the sellers. But that follow up rally from last week was more indicative of some new buying and maybe a little bit of covering of the hedges that were on the market, along with maybe some new conviction. So we're looking for reasons right now to either kind of play, I would say, more of a balanced market. Just knowing that we are in some upper supply zones, upper selling areas, maybe a little price resistance starting to come into focus. And secondly, not necessarily expecting the same momentum this week, which is part of the general engineering the market thesis that we discussed earlier in the chat room. So I'm looking today to see if that's going to remain true, or if that's just indicative of a bias that we had in the morning and maybe the market kind of proves us wrong throughout the day. And when you look at today's trade, especially just in the past hour or so, a lot of people are going to call this chop, maybe just a lack of direction. I kind of see it as the morning marking where we're going to be comfortable trading. And then anything beyond that being indicative of some sort of liquidity grab or just looking above and below and not having a ton of follow through. So one of the things that we just saw actively when Peter and Brian were trading was we got a little bit of Fed speak early in the morning session. Market took a pretty quick flush to the downside and then pretty much no follow through, coming all the way back up to quintessentially the high of the morning. And we could even mark these extreme highs for now just because it's that first 30 minutes of trade. I usually like to look at the first 30 to get a sense of the range. So your first 30-minute candle is going to be a really good guide for what we're about to deal with for the rest of the week. So this kind of price action to me screams that we're still advancing, but we're not doing it cleanly. And by doing that, we need to be careful of the stocks that we're trading when the market goes through that shift. Usually you're going to see deeper than average pullbacks. You're going to see things that are indicative of like back and forth trade. And it offers two-sided trade, which is what some traders really are actively looking for. But it doesn't mean that any side of the market has clear control. Usually as well, another thing that we'll kind of be on the lookout for in the S&P, something indicative of a rising wedge or a divergent pattern. You know, obviously if that pattern were to break bearish, there are some levels that were created on Friday's trade that I think don't have the staying power as maybe more so of a target if the pattern were to break in that direction. So using some of our price information from last week, the fact that we are a bit extended off of the rally, and more so looking to Thursday and Friday as not convicted bullish trade, but a huge gap up that left a kind of imbalance in the market that might need to be repaired. I feel very similar about the NASDAQ, but the NASDAQ will more often than not trigger any sort of corrective downside trade. And bigger picture, all this would indicate is that we might have a larger pattern that needs to set up. You know, one of the things that we might look for later is an inverse head and shoulder construction, or just something indicative of coming back, finding a weekly pullback, and then maybe using that to guide us through September and into August, or into October. So short term, I think we have to be bearish on the posture, or I'm sorry, we have to be bearish in the location, but we're not bearish on the price yet. And I think that's kind of the key here is we're not necessarily seeing selling pressure, but bulls right now are in poor locations if the market were to drop. And that kind of gives us a risk profile that maybe is less keen on taking new money longs at these levels, and instead waiting for a deeper pullback to initiate something, you know, just trying to find that weekly higher low after the bounce. So given the delay as well, I figured I'd leave some time for questions and just kind of clarifying any of that analysis. So looking for YouTube to offer up any general questions or how to kind of obtain this analysis on your own or through the lens of what I look for. So feel free to hit the YouTube chat.
Peter, before we get there, do you have any questions? I see you're still here.
I am still here. Well, I had the opportunity of listening to Jared's full thesis at the Engineering the Markets this morning, so you already answered them. But maybe for the sake of everybody, if you're getting your questions in on YouTube, and again, don't be shy. Feel free to put your questions in if you've got them. Just make sure I'm live. Yep, there we go. Jared, as we are coming to the end of this summer season, which I guess I feel it's been a pretty good, summer overall, considering that we normally get lower volume, lower, sort of price action movement. How have you felt about the summer? Has it been, good trading for you, or have you found it sort of disappointing?
I found this summer to be pretty active and glorious as an intraday trader.
Glorious. I love it.
Yes. It was something that was brought up, I think, late last week, that this summer hasn't been what I would say is a stereotypical or a seasonal summer as far as trade activity, volatility, etc. It's one of those weird things where we can get volatility in a lower volume market. And I don't think the volume has been low, but the volatility has recently obviously been very high. So those combos of having pretty decent trade activity and volatility, even not just this recent drop, but I would say June into July timeframe, there was still some active work to be done as the market made its current all-time high. And then, of course, things kicked into high gear recently. So most of the time, just looking for the right stocks, finding hot new sectors. Like we're kind of seeing space-based stocks right now kind of take another, rally or take another look at some of those. EVs are still kind of in play at times, maybe looking for some of the laggards during the latter half of the year. So it hasn't been inactive. And then our semiconductors are always available. Those are on everybody's list. Let's see. We do have a question
Excellent.
from Ray ES or Ray S. Do you do this every day? Intraday trading, yes. Market analysis, Monday through Thursday. Engineering the market in the Bear Bull Traders chat room. General analysis, I would say visually every day. Once you become an active trader, doing a market analysis, even if it's not a massive markup, is something that you can do very quickly. You just get the skill set for it, and it becomes easier. So it doesn't take as long. Sometimes you can do it within a matter of 10 to 15 seconds. The question is it useful information? Most of the time, we're trying to use this information for intraday and maybe for swing trading. So just depends on what we're looking for and what the market is offering at the time. What about you, Peter? How have you been finding the summer trade?
Actually, quite good. I have enjoyed the summer trading as well. I found it's been in fits and spurts. Like happens in the summer, you will get these periods where the market and individual stocks tend to move a little bit sideways because you do not have that volume-based momentum always to push it. But as you said, the volume's actually been relatively high, which means I would say there's been more opportunity for trade than there have been the normal like boredom of the summer where like nothing is moving. That being said, the afternoons have been characteristically quiet, which you can expect, but the opens have been quite good, which has carried us through in the momentum. One of my signature trades happens at the close, and I've been surprised to see how often the volume has come back in for the close to give us those trade opportunities as the market sort of head towards the last few minutes. So I generally like the summers. Like I don't mind them. You just have to be a little more judicious, right, on when you choose to take a trade or not. And if the conditions aren't right, don't be afraid to sit on the sidelines. I'll be my advice to everybody out there, right? Like sometimes the best trade you can take is no trade. If
Right.
it's not right for you. And then, don't go beating yourself up if the thing moves the way you expected, but did it in a manner that, didn't give you the signals for entry. That happens. Use that as an opportunity to review. Does this happen frequently? If it happens repeatedly, then, all right, can you change or loosen your criteria? You may find on further investigation that, it happens, but irregularly. So it's still not something that you want to do. So, I've liked the summer. I found it's given good trade opportunities, again, as long as you've been appropriately cautious.
And then final question on YouTube. What's your favorite strategy in 2024? I'm assuming intraday, Doll. We always have to kind of clarify because intraday strategies, swing strategies have a slightly different flair to them. Intraday strategy, certainly, I'm what's called a market structure type trader. So I look for typically something strong and I target something weak. If there's a high that is weak, I target it, by being a strong buyer and vice versa, a strong seller, weak buyer. So I'm looking to get into the market on pullbacks, typically to take out the buyer or seller that created my pullback. So if that kind of makes sense to you, just logically, you'll notice the market will pull back sometimes, but the high or the low of that pullback becomes the next breakout target. It's like where people would call another breakout. So I'm trying to be in the pullback. I'm trying to target whoever created my pullback. And then if they expand past it, I'm already profitable. So I'm already in the trade and maneuvering to the next expansion target. That is not what I would call a simple or a cutesy strategy. It's very analytical in its definition, but I'm always going to be in the pullbacks. If we're talking swing, then what I've been doing as an option trader very often is selling credit spreads. And that's a pretty straightforward objective. I look for stocks that are overbought, oversold, usually volatility kind of kicked up for a brief period. And then I look for whatever the stock is rejecting. Usually it's like a pinpoint area or some old supply and demand, and then I sell credit. And I would say that probably about 85% of the credit spreads I've done this year have been profitable. And obviously consistently profitable with the metrics of how those work. So lots of things to do, even if you're not directional. The great thing about selling credit is you don't have to get the direction right. You just have to stay away from your strikes. So it's a little bit of a different game.
Indeed. All right. Well, thank you,
right.
Jared, for being here this morning. I will mention as we're closing down here, ASTS has gone over 35.50. I know it's one of the ones you're keeping an eye on, so it's moving today.
We know where that one's going, to the moon.
So we do, or at least you believe you do. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We will see you back here tomorrow morning, 8:30. Take care, everybody. Have a great trading day.
Bye for now.